This is a compilation video and it's all about tests. Tests for you and tests for your relationships with narcissists. I'm Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. Sound good to you? If so, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. How happy are you? How miserable are you? As you're going through narcissistic abuse, so often you realize that you're miserable, and that's what leads you to finding the truth about your abuse and discovering the mess that you're in. But as you go through it, you need to consistently reassess your happiness level, because you may find that you need to make some changes in your life to make your life better, whether it's regarding the narcissist or not. So today we're going to take a personal happiness assessment test together. That's what we're talking about today at queenbeing.com. Are you happy, and how can you find out, and what can you do about it if you're not? Let's get started. My name's Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. Does that sound good to you? If so, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. So before we get started, I want to let you know, check the description down below and you will be able to download a copy of this assessment for yourself if you need to, okay? All right, as we get started, I'm going to go ahead and show you the first part of the test, which came out of my live chat this morning. So get your pencils ready, grab a piece of paper or open up a text document on your computer and get ready to write down your answers. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question. There are 10 questions. And then I'm going to tell you 3 answers, A, B, and C. And you just write down or type down your choice for each question. And at the end, then I'm going to tell you exactly what that means. Question number 1, how do you feel about life? A, life is good. I have almost everything I want, and I have the ability to work for the things I need. B, life is okay. There's no major problem, but I don't feel really upbeat either. Or C, everything sucks. I wish I could get out of this freaking mess. Okay? So write down your answers, A, B, or C. Number 2, how often do you keep in touch with friends and family? A, regularly. B, when they contact me. C, hardly ever. Remember, sometimes family is not blood. All right. Number 3, what do you do when you are faced with a difficult problem? A, I try to look at it from different angles to find the best solution. B, I try to do the minimum to get rid of the problem. Or C, problem? What problem? Number 4. So remember, write down A, B, or C for your answer. Number 4, how often do you exercise to keep fit? A, regularly. B, once in a while. C, hardly ever. All right. Number 5, do you have a 5-year plan, a yearly goal, a quarterly quota, or a daily task list, or all of the above? A, yes, and I refer to it regularly. B, yes, but I don't remember what it is. Or C, nah, I don't believe in planning ahead. Number 6, you are looking for a job and your skills match about 50% of the requirement. You're invited to an interview. How do you feel about your chances? A, I'm pretty sure I'll get the job if I put my best foot forward. B, I'll just attend the interview but be prepared that I might not be picked. Or C, I don't think my chances are very high. Maybe I should just skip the interview. Number 7, a friend recently lost his job and has decided to start his own business. He came to you for advice because you're a successful entrepreneur. What would you do? A, provide all the help you can so your friend can start a business and be successful as soon as possible. B, answer only the questions he asked because you don't really feel obligated to provide too much information. Or C, decline to help. You don't need another competitor. All right, number 8, do you like to acquire new knowledge, for example, learning to cook or a new language? A, yes, I enjoy learning new things. B, depends on whether or not I make money. Or C, I don't have the energy to learn anything new. Number 9, you received a promotion. How do you feel about it? A, I feel so happy, honored, and grateful. I will accept the greater responsibility that comes with a new job. B, the increase in pay is good, but I'm really worried about the increased responsibilities and how they might weigh me down. Or C, geez, it's about time. It's just a progression in my career. Number 10, when life gets hectic, what do you do? A, stay calm and focus and be mindful about what's going on and how to cope. B, react to problems as they surface without thinking about them too much. Or C, shut down and don't talk to anyone. All right, now what I want you to do is figure out how many A's, how many B's, and how many C's you got. Which answer do you have the highest count? If you had mostly A's, life is good, you're pretty happy, and you're among the happiest people around you. So enjoy your life, keep it up, and help other people. B, you're kind of feeling indifferent. You're not exactly unhappy, but at the back of your mind, you really know you could do better. Or C, it can only get better. You're not happy with your current circumstances. You feel that you deserve much better, and it's about time you take action to reclaim your happiness. All right, next up, we're going to start talking about what the obstacles are that are holding you back from being happy. So if you are the happiest person you know, you probably can stop the video now. But if you've got some things you want to work on and you want to make your life a little better, well, let's get moving toward that. What do you think are the obstacles standing in the way of your happiness? In this next section, we're going to talk about the possible obstacles in your way of happiness. The various factors that we're going to talk about are going to be presented to you in the form of questions. And while it might not be possible for you to answer all of them as we go, maybe one of these will help you because you hadn't considered it before. So as we go, provide an answer if you have them, provide a solution if you can think of one. And remember, if you need help with coming up with a solution, it can be a good idea to hire yourself a life coach or to talk to other people in your life, your friends, your family members, things like that. And if you're wondering, I do offer life coaching. You can go to queenbeing.com and look for the schedule button on the front page. Question number 1. Do you know what you actually want or need to be happy? What's your solution if you don't? Your answer and your solution. These are the things you're going to write down. Question number 2. Do you put any priority on your own happiness, or are you always worried about other people's happiness? For example, do you make time to do things for yourself that you actually enjoy? Don't forget, write down your answer and your solution. If your answer is no, what's the solution to that question? Number 3, do you blame someone else for your unhappiness? For example, do you blame your parents, your narcissist, your boss, your colleagues, the economy, etc.? What's your answer and what's the solution? Number 4, is your effort in achieving happiness actually preventing you from achieving the happiness that you're looking for? For example, trying to make more money because it can buy the things that will make you happy, but ignoring personal and family health in the process? What's your answer? What's the solution? Number 5, do you think that happiness gurus are happier than the rest of us because they're rich and famous and they know how to tell people to be happy, so it's easier for them to be happy? What's your answer and what's the solution? Number 6, are there inaccurate beliefs about happiness that are ruling our lives? For example, people are selfish and can't be trusted. You can only rely on yourself. Answer, solution. Number 7, do you put off important decisions or actions? For example, having a difficult conversation, sorting out your finances, etc. What's your answer? What's the solution? Number 8, do you have fears that if you appear to be happier than your peers, yourself will be rejected, you will be rejected? For example, you join in the gossip and the complaint sessions, so maybe that you fit in? What's the answer? What's the solution? Let me ask you a question. Do you think that these obstacles that you came up with here are valid? If they are, is it worth taking a closer look at what you can do to address them? That's all I'm saying. Next up, we're going to just discuss what actions you might take to achieve your happiness, just to kind of help you out as you move forward in your life. So what would it truly take for you to be happy? First of all, you need to be kind to yourself. Obviously, the most important step toward achieving happiness is to be kind to yourself. And I'm not talking about just being nice and being polite to yourself. I'm talking about unconditional, unrelenting, complete and total radical self-love, my friend. So let me ask you a question. Are you being too critical of yourself? Listen, a lot of our happiness starts from really being a lot of our unhappiness starts from being too critical on ourselves. We beat ourselves up too much, especially when we've been with narcissists. Have you ever had thoughts that you're not good enough for a job, or too slow in reacting to challenges, or maybe you're not just witty enough in responding to arguments, or gosh, just you're not good at making decisions at all? Maybe you're not good at closing in deals or anything like that. Self-criticism is a defensive mechanism that keeps us alert and safe, certainly, but because of what we've been through, we tend to overdose on it, and that, as you know, brings misery. So be aware of the chatter that's going on in your head and work to eliminate the negative self-talk. Remember, treat yourself like a good mother would have treated you. So think about how you would speak to a child. Would you criticize a child in the same harsh voice that you criticize yourself? I don't think you would. I know I wouldn't. So let's be kind to ourselves, okay? It's all in your head. Let me ask you a few questions. How much negative self-talk is going on in your head right now? And what's it saying? Can you replace it with positive and constructive ideas? Here's a quick exercise I give to my clients sometimes. Take a few minutes and write down all of the negative things that you think about yourself, and remember who said them to you or where those ideas came from. And then go back and look at the list again, and I want you to physically cross out each thing that was negative that came in your head, and I want you to replace it with an affirmation of what you actually want or what you actually believe to be true. So for example, if you tell yourself all the time, "I'm so ugly," okay, I want you to cross that belief out, throw it out of your head, and start focusing on the fact that you are your own kind of beautiful, or you are your own kind of attractive, okay? And keep moving forward like that through each one. It can help. Now let's talk about appreciation and gratitude, all right? Being appreciative of events and people can definitely calm down your mind. It also provides you with a fresh view, a new perspective to see things at a different angle, okay? So as I tell you every single day, have a list of 10 items that you're grateful for. I suggest that you write them down, okay? And you're going to find more ways to be grateful every day if you do this. Now don't forget, as a survivor of narcissistic abuse, it's really important to throw in those 3 things you love about yourself too. So I always tell everybody, write down 10 things you're grateful for and 3 things you love about yourself every single day. You can clarify your values too. Remember, when you live by your values, there will be no ambiguity and conflict, and therefore you're going to have greater peace of mind. It's a beautiful thing. So where are your values in these areas? Grab a pencil and write this down. I want you to decide what your values are in relationships, what they are in work, in family, and social life. What are your personal development values? What about leisure and money and community? Think about these things, each one of these things. How can you prioritize what matters in your life? For example, if you place great value on family and you believe that family often comes first, well, you're going to be happier with work decisions that allow you to be with your family more often, right? Here's a tip. Keep a journal of everything that you achieve, okay? Because no matter how happy and confident we are, there are always going to be moments where we experience unexpected setbacks. So keep a journal of achievements and browse through them during these times. It's really going to reaffirm your belief in yourself and help to lift your spirit. Next up, make your own happiness list. This is really fun. Many people do this, I do this, and I think it's a beautiful thing. Keep a list of all the little things that make you happy and kind of revisit the list for inspiration anytime you feel down. It's very, very helpful. So you can start with simple ideas like, taking a walk in the park, having a bowl of ice cream, helping the elderly neighbor next door with the grocery shopping maybe. Anything that makes you feel good, makes you feel happy about yourself, about your life. Include bigger goals too, like traveling to certain locations or hosting a big dinner party. And then I want you to think about something. Count the items that are on your list. If you do this and you list 3 things a day, you will have a list of 1,095 things in 1 year. That's amazing. So why would we do this? What's the significance? Well, first up, it's really not hard to find happiness in little things, right? It's kind of easy, and if you list lots of little things, they bring you so much joy individually, and when you put them all together, you realize life is pretty good, or it can be, right? Second, I want you to realize that the longer your list is, the more reasons you have to be happy personally, and that's a pretty awesome thing. Third, with consistent effort, the number of items on your list, like I said, can be more than 1,000 a year. That's pretty awesome. And finally, when you're listing happy items, it becomes a habit. Okay, the happy mindset always looks for more happy items. So as you're doing that, you're going to want to push forward toward finding the things that you want in your life. So focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And the more you condition yourself to do that, the more you're going to grow your energy, which is going to help you to directly attract the things that you want in your life. And here's a bonus tip. Start that list and keep it going. Share it with other people in your life, maybe on social media platforms, so it can help other people. All right. Now take a look at this fun little 30-second video I've got for you right here on some other basic happiness tips. 8 tips on how to be happier. You will have less negative emotions if you're getting more sleep. Exercise releases endorphins that make us feel happier. Spending time outside in the fresh air can improve your mood. Giving back and helping others will enrich your life and make you happier. Spend time with friends and family. Smile more. Might sound cheesy, but it really does help. Meditating improves focus and keeps you calm, which in turn improves your state of mind. Focus on the things you're grateful for and which make you happy. I'm going to leave you today with a Persian proverb, and it says, I cursed the fact that I had no shoes until I saw the man who had no feet. Do you constantly have relationships where you feel exhausted because you're trying to rescue your friends or your family or your lover from one catastrophe after another? You might be codependent, and if you are, maybe it's time to let go and start looking after yourself for a change. This is the codependency test. Do you think you might be a codependent person? Knowing more about yourself can help you to improve your life. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can tell if you're codependent and what signs to watch for. Let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. Does that sound good to you? If so, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. One of the best things about friendship is that our friends can support and help us when times get tough in our lives. In a relationship between two emotionally healthy adults, the role of giving and receiving help are balanced. Both people offer help and receive help from each other in approximately equal amounts. But there are some people who are always taking on the role of being the helper, no matter what relationship they're in. These people have friendships that focus exclusively on trying to solve the problems of their friends. We sometimes call this quality codependency. And we might label people who are obsessed with helping others as codependent. A codependent person often has relationships with people who have emotional, social, familial, and financial problems. This codependent person might spend a lot of their time, money, and energy helping other people who have problems, but they ignore the problems in their own life. Why would someone be a codependent then? A person who is codependent often suffers from a deep sense of worthlessness and anxiety, and they try to derive a sense of self-worth by helping or rescuing others. A person who is codependent might not know how to relax and feel comfortable in any relationship where both partners are equals and the relationship is based on enjoying each other's company. Codependent people might feel anxious if someone they're helping gets their life in order and doesn't need their help anymore. The codependent person might immediately look around for someone else they can save. If you frequently take on the role of helping people who are your friends, how can you really tell if you're acting out of genuine kindness and concern or whether your behavior is in fact codependency? Here are some questions you can ask yourself to see whether your helping behaviors might actually be codependency. Do you have a hard time saying no to other people? Even when you're really busy, financially broke, or just completely exhausted? Are you always sacrificing your own needs for everyone else? Do you feel more worthy as a human being because you've taken on a helping role? If you stopped helping your friends, would you feel guilty or worthless? Would you know how to be in a friendship not revolving around you being the helper? If your friends eventually didn't need your help, would you still be friends with them? Or would you look around for someone else to help? Do you feel resentful when other people are not grateful to you for your efforts at rescuing them or fixing their lives? Do you sometimes feel like more of a social worker than a friend in your relationships? Do you feel uncomfortable receiving help from other people? In the role of helping others, is it a more natural role for you to play in your relationships? Does it seem as if many of your friends have particularly chaotic lives with one crisis after another? Did you grow up in a family that had a lot of emotional chaos or addiction problems? Are many of your friends addicts, alcoholics, or do they have serious emotional and social problems? As you were growing up, did you think it was up to you to keep your family functioning? And as an adult, is it important for you to be thought of as the dependable one? If you answered yes to a lot of these questions, you might have a problem with codependency. This doesn't mean that you're a flawed person. It just means that you're spending energy on other people with very little on yourself. If it seems like a lot of your friendships are based on codependent, recurring rescuing behaviors rather than mutual like and respect between equals, you might want to step back and rethink your role in those relationships. If you suspect that your helping behavior is a form of codependency, a good therapist, a coach, or a counselor can help you gain perspective on your actions and learn a more balanced way of relating to other people. Now it's time for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, do you see yourself in this list of qualities? Just please share your thoughts and your experiences in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life, and hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon. It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body, take care of your soul, nurture the real you, and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot, take it now, and the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together. Today I'm going to share with you a new way that you can test someone to find out if they might be a narcissist without them even knowing it. And this test uses psychology that has been researched and proven by professionals at Wilfrid Lawyer University. Let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. Does that sound good to you? If so, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. Most of us can agree that narcissism is something that is created out of a long and complicated process of psychological development, usually beginning in childhood, right? Well, with that being said, a 2013 study actually has inspired me to teach you a new thing. So the study suggested that it was a 2013 study done at Wilfrid Lawyer University. So we agree that narcissists are generally made, not born, right? Well, the study done at Wilfrid Lawyer University suggests that narcissism could be even simpler than we think. So it could be a mechanical failure of your brain to function in a certain way. And we've kind of talked before how scientists have figured out that narcissists' brains are thinner in the area that produces empathy, for example. So this is not completely far-fetched. Most people have a certain tendency, and it's across the board, to mimic people around them. And it's a sign of empathy. For example, if somebody yawns, picks up a cup of coffee, somebody else picks up, scratches, whatever. Certain things we will mimic people up to a point. If somebody's smiling, we will smile. It's natural for us to do that as human beings. Interestingly enough, if someone were choosing to recover from narcissism, they could also use this mimicking thing to actually develop empathy better, to further develop that part of their brain. The study suggests that this means that empathy can be taught with practice. So the project focused on that issue, mimicry, and how we naturally do that when we're around other people. Of course, it's a tendency, just officially, a tendency to inadvertently copy or mimic other people around us in social situations, which has competing explanations. One of those is that it evolved from basically social cohesion, right? Meaning that it helped people to relate to one another better, and so it became a human instinct to behave that way. The other, and this is the one that the study authors actually say they prefer, is that it is individually learned in a shorter time frame, and that it can be learned later in life. Here's the interesting thing. People who are known to be narcissists don't automatically imitate us, okay? They don't automatically do that imitation thing. So the official, explanation for this is that if you pick up a coffee cup, the thing that your brain does to make your hand move and the sensory aspects of that, so I'm going to pick up this coffee cup, the sensory aspects of what it looks like when your hand moves, how it holds the cup, things like that. Well, over time, these things become linked through understanding, learning what it looks like, what it feels like to pick up a coffee cup, right? So it reactivates the motor aspects if you also pick up a coffee cup and somebody else does. It's called the mirror neuron system, and it was discovered in the 1990s, and they say that it might actually be connected to many of the underlying mysterious cognitive functions that we all have, beginning with imitation to facial recognition and awareness of the self. And of course, there is a possible relevance to even autism. Interesting, right? Basically, one of the co-authors said, hey, this provides a certain kind of scaffolding, right, to empathy, because it lets us know and appreciate what's happening in someone else's mind. So using that same metaphor, this means that the narcissist has a shaky moral scaffolding. So the narcissist's ability to bridge or connect with other people is actually kind of in danger of collapsing, which just basically means that they're more interested in their own stuff than anyone else's stuff, which we already knew. This is not news. So basically during the study, the professors and the psychologists who were doing this study asked a group of students to take the NPI, the Narcissistic Personality Inventory, which, by the way, you can access at queenbeing.com if you'd like to check it out. But that's a really commonly used test to gauge narcissism and levels of narcissism, where they fit on the spectrum, stuff like that. None of them were officially diagnosed with NPD, but most of them were considered more or less normal. So basically they were watching a screen and they were told to raise their hand when something happened and not raise their hand when something else happened. And at the same time, they were being shown a video of someone else doing the same thing, but sometimes being right, sometimes being wrong, okay? So Professor Jordan, one of the authors of the study, said that what you find as an indicator of motor resonance, which is a term for the action of mirror neurons, is that people tend to show an interference effect when the cue and the visual image are incongruent, when they don't match. So you're cued to lift your index finger, even though the hand on the screen is lifting its middle finger. He says people are typically slower and less accurate in making the response in those situations. Interesting, right? As a general rule, they found that the automatic imitation effect is shared among most people. It's widely shared. But those who were more narcissistic showed much less of that interference. Their brain doesn't process the other person's action in the same way and to the same extent that ours does. But if it is processing the other person's action, there are additional mechanisms that they can deploy to suppress the input. So they have something blocking their ability to empathize. And as we know, that fits pretty nicely with how narcissists treat people. It's automatic, the doctor says, or the professor says, but he says that to the extent that it manifests, it seems to change as a function of personality. I find this fascinating. It could be part of the reason that narcissists sometimes have trouble in social situations, social relationships, because they don't automatically imitate. And that might be one of the reasons that narcissists have so much trouble in intimate relationships as well. But here's the bottom line. How would you test a narcissist without the narcissist knowing it based on this information? It's really simple. Simply watch them do things. Be aware of your movements, be aware of your face, your facial expression. Be aware of that you are picking up your coffee cup if you're having coffee with a narcissist. Be aware of that you are smoothing your hair or that you're doing that. Anything that you do that might be mirrored, yawn, see what happens. If the narcissist is not mirroring you at all or very little, then you know that they might actually be a narcissist. It's a good way to check and see. If they're not showing empathy by mirroring or imitating or mimicking your movements, they might be a narcissist.
Could you be in a toxic relationship? Or do you think your partner might be abusing you? What are the signs and symptoms of a toxic abusive relationship? Today at QueenBeing.com, I'm giving you a toxic relationship test. Listen to the signs and symptoms and warning signs and check off the ones that apply to your relationship to help you determine exactly what you're dealing with. Let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. Sound good? If so, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. Don't ignore the warning signs of losing yourself in a toxic relationship. Have you ever lost yourself in a relationship to the point that loved ones had difficulty recognizing you? It can happen. Losing yourself because of your close relationship with someone is dangerous and unhealthy. Pay attention to these warning signs before you've gone too far for your loved one. Number one, you're unhappy but you're scared to say it. One sign of an unhealthy relationship is that you're unhappy but too afraid to mention it to your partner. Being unhappy in a relationship is common, and it occurs after an argument or another major event. However, if the unhappiness lasts for weeks or months, it's a warning sign. You want to be able to talk about your feelings freely. In a healthy relationship, you can calmly and kindly address the unhappiness with your partner. Avoid blaming them or using guilt. Focus on how you want to improve the relationship and how you can move forward. It can be, however, a red flag with a toxic relationship. Number two, you give in to all of their demands, from changing your work schedule to please them to never cooking your favorite foods because they don't like them. It's easy to fall into a trap of always meeting their demands. However, this is another warning sign that you're losing yourself. Compromise is a normal part of a healthy relationship, but it has its limits. If your identity and other things that make you unique are disappearing in the relationship, it's no longer healthy. If you're always giving in, it's possibly a way to cope with a partner and keep the peace. Unfortunately, this means that your own wishes and dreams get left behind. You might start to lose everything that makes you special because you don't want to upset the other person or make them angry. You indulge in distractions. Watching television or checking social media can be a fun distraction, right? A small amount of these things is great. But living in a distracted world is unhealthy. Do not indulge in your distractions to avoid thinking about your relationship. Distractions can range from watching too many shows to reading tabloid magazines, and they can vary from person to person. But you can recognize them in your own life, can't you? Many distractions are used to avoid thinking or dealing with difficult situations. Number four, your goals and dreams are gone. Do you ever look at your current life and feel like you've lost all of your passion and dreams? Each person has specific goals, specific dreams, passions that make them unique. It's your greater vision that inspires you to get up and move forward. However, if you've lost yourself in a relationship, your dreams and your goals can disappear. You might be pushing your own dreams down just to lift up your partner. You might also feel like there's not enough room in your relationship for your own dreams or goals. However, your dreams can't take a back seat forever, my friend. The reasons for ignoring your wants and goals might include fear of upsetting the other person. You might also want to get their approval. So you might be afraid to share things that they might not like or agree with completely. Anyone who's been in a long-term relationship will tell you that there are rough periods. And most people, if they're being honest, would admit to having doubts along the way. But sometimes we don't know how to assess just how bad is it. So here's a quiz to help you decide if you're in a toxic relationship. The more symptoms you think are true for you and or your partner, the more likely you're in a toxic relationship. If you have 3 to 5 checked off, you probably need a tune-up. More than 5, it's time to consider more serious therapy or to consider ending the relationship or both. After this part, we will talk about severe relationship issues. First, you feel worse around your partner than you do when you're on your own. Your self-esteem has plummeted since you've been together. Either you or your partner, or both of you, are dishonest with each other. You often feel hurt by how you were treated by your partner instead of feeling good while you're together. You complain frequently about your relationship to others. One or both of you may have become frequently critical of one another. You are unable to approach your partner with your concerns in a reasonable way, without exploding in anger or using passive-aggressive, sarcastic, outwardly compliant but inwardly defiant behavior. Or you can expect that any confrontation will only result in an unproductive fight with no change. You feel like you have to walk on eggshells all the time. Most or all of the issues that come up between you stay unresolved even when you try to sort them out together. Therefore, one or both of you often take a why bother attitude about dealing with the issues. This is different from choosing your battles because even important issues remain unresolved and go underground. You lose your enthusiasm about your life and you've given up most of your hobbies, your friends, or your interests that were important to you before the relationship. Instead, you are consumed about the difficulties you're having in your relationship. You no longer trust your mate. This is it's tricky because some of us have trust issues and find it hard to trust anyone, especially after abuse. You might need help in exploring this with people who know you and possibly your partner very well. Of course, sometimes the doubts turn out to be warranted. Little things about your relationship bother you and you just can't let go of them. You find yourself more drawn to priorities outside of the relationship than you do to spending time together. Your sex life has dwindled down to almost nothing at all, and at least one of you is not happy about that. One or both partners have become closer with someone else other than each other. So this could include an emotional affair, or it could even be just a friend or a sibling or a parent or one of your kids who kind of takes your place. Obviously, the most destructive of these is if there's an actual affair. Online relationships are just as destructive as if it were in person. You engage in behaviors that take you away from your partner that are not likely to support a healthy lifestyle. You might drink too much, spend too much time out, zoning out with electronics, computer, video games, TV, escaping into your work, finding more satisfaction with singular sex than together. If you answered yes to 3 or more of these symptoms, you have reason to be concerned. Let's talk about severe relationship problems. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, it is time to address them as soon as possible. It's usually very difficult to address these problems on your own, and getting help, or in certain cases getting out, if anyone's being abused in the relationship, including the children, is what you should do. You are afraid of your partner because you've learned to expect an angry response. It comes with name-calling, crude or abusive insults, or even fits of rage. You might no longer speak with each other beyond the very basic necessities of sharing that living space. One or both of you might use indirect passive-aggressive means to get to the other. And you often have that feeling that you've been punched in the stomach, but you don't know why. Maybe you or your partner spend nights away from home without calling to let the other know where you'll be or where they'll be or when they'll be home. One or both of you might frequently stay out partying with others without your partner until very late into the evening. If there's domestic violence, including throwing objects, shoving, hitting, kicking, biting, or physical aggression, or there's violence against your pets, your children, threats of violence against any living being, it's a red flag. One or both partners might throw objects at walls or break things in the house or otherwise destroy your property. maybe threatening the other partner, suggesting they'll hurt you or you'll hurt them directly or by hurting themselves. Some threats of suicide are actually thinly veiled attempts to make a partner feel so guilty that they become afraid of saying or doing anything. That might upset their partner because they're afraid, they won't leave. They're scared they'll be hurt. They might use and abuse recreational drugs, including alcohol, on a regular basis. That can disrupt their relationship. This may not be an indication that the relationship is in trouble, but the person is definitely in trouble, and their drinking and or drug use will very negatively affect the relationship. Using the children to hurt their partner, red flag. Or using the children to send messages back and forth to the partner, another red flag. When a couple has this much distress in their lives, people might wonder, why do they even stay together? Well, a lot of times people feel locked in because of children, because of finances, or other reasons. Sometimes there's a real threat that if one partner makes any move to leave, the other will actually try to hurt them. These are highly abusive situations which are beyond the need of therapy, and a partner might need to use local resources or a safe house from domestic violence. And now it's time for the question of the day. The question of the day is, did you recognize any signs that I talked about as part of your relationship? Have you been in a toxic relationship and you didn't know it? Share your thoughts and your experiences in the comments section below, and let's have a discussion. That's all I've got for you today. As always, thanks so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life, and hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon. It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body, take care of your soul, nurture the real you, and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot, take it now, and the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together.